Hey, good morning. This is your second tutorial for the Kent School District choice boards. So I'm going to be changing to sharing my screen to you in just a second to take you through the PBS learning materials that they have in box one. So hold tight. I'm going to switch over to sharing my stuff with you. So I got to share my screen so I can show you where to go and what I would do and walking you through. So today I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible just to share it with you and what I would suggest you go to. And let me move my face out of the way over here. All right, so high school English language arts choice menu. Again, we are on the district website and we went to the closure information and then learning support and then learning packets. And under there, we go to secondary, high school English language arts, choice menu. They've given you these choices for supplemental learning. Remember, these are optional. These are things to keep up your skills as we go through this phase we're in, which is phase 3. Phase 4 is supposed to start April 27th. No, I don't know what that looks like because I am not on a committee for it and they haven't shared that with us. So it says go to PBS. Oh, we're gonna do box 1 today. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. Box 1, we did box 4 last week, okay, which was actively learn. And I showed you how to get to that and how to access. And I read a story with you guys that was really good, I think. Pen with a flag. So if you missed out on that, just know that's what we did. And so that was really, you could have read a nonfiction piece as well and answered some questions. So this is all just about reading, comprehension, keeping those skills up. So if you still want to go back and do box 4 again, feel free to. But for me, it's getting some variety because I get bored with the same thing all the time. So today I'm going to go to try out box 1, which is this PBS one that I was talking about. So it says go to the PBS website, it'll analyze multiple texts, print and media text, and compare the stylistic choices that the authors and or performers use to deliver a message. Choose from the list below for your appropriate grade level activity. So it's not this link right here. That's the general one that will take you to a bunch of stuff and that's very confusing. You need to actually scroll down in the district's document until you get past the boxes of choices. And down here, remember our little friend where it explains more? So we used the actively learn one before where we typed in of mice and men. And then we click on the image that looks like that. And we choose, they said choose 3 activities to complete. And remember, we just did 1 last week. So this is where you could go back to box 4 and do it again, do a couple of those. There's a lot of good stuff there, if it's fine. So this week we're doing box 1 PBS options. We know our 9th graders are doing one on Shakespeare. 10th grade is fake news. 11th grade is a Maya Angelou poetry one, which I still think is really cool and we could definitely go do that. But we're gonna do this one that they gave us about why is fake news so effective. So I'm just gonna click that link. Let's hope it works. So this is what you guys will see. I don't have any special sign in for this. I'm not going to see anything differently than what you do. It does have that I could share it to Google Classroom if I wanted to. I don't know where the best place is to put my face or just get rid of it. So it says, why is fake news so effective? What happens when I click launch? Continue as a guest because I don't want to have to sign up for something. Let's see what this does. Okay, this looks, wow, okay. Hi, I'm BB, the TV, your trusty guide through the complex world of breaking views. I don't know what to think of this so far. The Breaking Views series is created with high school students from the Journalism and Media Academy in Hartford, Connecticut, and producers at Connecticut Public Learning. The series was created for talking about controversial or timely issues in the news while also learning about the critical concepts of the topic. During the 2016 election, the Breaking Views team was interested in how the media was covering the race, but also concerned about the role that misinformation was playing in the election. In this lesson, you'll explore the history of fake news, examine how it's evolved with technology, and watch an episode of Breaking Views that discusses how the 2016 presidential election was affected by this issue. Along the way, you'll learn key terms, compare fake news stories from the past and present, pick out fake news from actual news, and think about your own news habits. Then using what you've learned, you'll complete a final assignment by writing a short answer on how we can take steps to make sure we don't get fooled by bad information. Let's get started. This is really good for, I know I made fun at the beginning because of the cheesy cartoon and the nickname, but I really like the idea of being savvy consumers of news and information. I think so many students read anything on the internet and they're like, why can't I just use this for my paper? Why can't I just use this for my research? And the key is you don't want to be duped by anybody. And even with most people getting their news from online now, it makes it even scarier that some people are getting stuff from not just biased sources, because a lot of sources are biased. I mean, we're all biased in life, right? We have our own subjectivity about things. But when things are masquerading as news that are really serving different agendas, that's what we need to be aware of. And it's not to say that just because something's biased, we don't use it. We just need to be aware of that. So there's a difference between biased news and fake news. And so that's looks like what this is going to get into. So it looks like it's a section for my work and a glossary and a menu. I'm going to click menu. So we already met BV. So we're going to go to number 2. What is fake news? So it looks like it just has your information here, and you can click on these if you don't know these words. We talked about propaganda. We've talked about hyperbole a little bit with our figurative language work. It's something that you've been taught before. Conspiracy theories might be new for you, so click on it if you don't know what that is. Okay, so that's number 2. Make sure you read that. Number 3 is, I'm just going to click through these pretty fast, by the way, on this tutorial, just to see what's there and preview it for you, so when you go and do it, it's not as overwhelming. So it's really good because they just tell you what to do here. They give you these direct instructions here at the top that they want you to read this, and they give you some questions to get you thinking about it. So it's going to have a video for you to watch. So just click play on that. I just want to make sure it works. Oh, yeah, there it goes. Okay. And then extra write about it, and they have you write 3 things you learned from the video. That's good practice of finding. I do this all the time with you guys when I show you a video and I say, write down 3 interesting things, or write down 1 interesting thing and 1 question you still have. It's called critical thinking. I mean, that's why your teachers have you do that stuff. So you're not just absorbing the information, you're actually thinking about it critically and making notes of it, because it's so easy to just sit there and gloss over and not really pay attention to what's going on. Okay. All right, so a brief history of fake news is the next one, number 4. So then after you write your response, go to this one, a brief history of fake news. Again, same things with some terms in different colors for you to click on that you can learn more about. So let's just click on yellow journalism. It gives you the definition right there. It just pops up the little box. So you can get that definition there. So that's really cool that that helps you out. Down here it says below are examples of sensationalized headlines in yellow journalism from the World and Journal. You can click on them to see the full pages and read some of the articles. So it's giving you this historical perspective, it looks like, with some pieces from 1897 and 1889. And it would just be interesting to see. I mean, look at, you guys see how text heavy the newspapers are? That's the first thing that's really interesting before we even read any of the content. I mean, look at these articles. They're very, very short. And it's because, you know, printing was so expensive that they had to get their stories in such a small amount of space. And so it would really be like a page of news, a front page and I think a back page at some point. But, you know, look at that, what you're looking at. These are all different stories. Like that right there is one story. You can see the little headlines and the dividing lines. Wow, it's crazy. So you could click on it to look at it in a larger picture if you want. That way you can zoom in or out. I don't know how good the quality is on it as far as once it loads up. There's my magnifying glass. Oh, you can read it pretty well. Okay. They also used to publish novels serially through newspapers, and so you would get like a chapter a week. So that's another interesting thing to see if you come across any of those. But yeah, okay, so that's kind of cool. So then they want you to write about it. What stories or headlines might attract public interest or attention grabbing? Why? So looking at both of these, I mean, even from a distance, which ones draw your eye and which ones would be most interesting. So writing about that, so that's kind of cool. Then they have a review for you to do. So practice what you're actually learning and do a match it. Do you think I could pass it right now? Let's see. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do it. I just want to see what it looks like. Okay, so you take the words and put them in the blanks to kind of quiz yourself. This is an official grade. It's just, and then I can click back or close out, I guess. Oopsies. Okay. Trusting the media is next. So once you've done that, you've looked at the history of it, you've taken a little quiz on it to make sure you understand up to that point what they're talking about. That's important. That's a check for your understanding. So that's what this thing is doing. Next is trusting the media. A Gallup poll, which is a national poll of a select group. And so they're going to have you analyze the data here, which is really good practice with nonfiction and learning for informational text. How do I actually read numerical data, or how do I read tables and graphs? So this is a highlight activity. Ooh, you know I like anything with highlighters and markers and stuff. So you're going to highlight it. Oh yeah, cool stuff. Okay, I got to get out of here. If I hit back, it's going to just take me to the previous page, I think. Just having some problems. Okay, so that was that one. Sorry, it keeps going back to the other one. What are your news habits? Ooh, that would be cool. So after you've like analyzed the data about the people in general, now it's going to go into looking at you. So we've looked at a historical concept. We've looked at currently how it's perceived, large scale, American public. And now we're going into more personal with you specifically. This is pretty standard for most lessons and for teaching in general, as we start things off really broad and then we start to narrow it in and give it more meaning for you and help you learn that way. So here is, what are your news habits? Has you fill in a chart with answers to some questions. So that's pretty cool. Next section is, and it has to do with your just your habits with media. And then uncovering fake news is the next section. How can internet users make sure they're not tricked by fake news? This is the important part for me, because when we do argument and we do research in all my classes, I have kids who don't even bother to check their sources. Who are they quoting? Why? Even on pretty reputable news sources, they'll just say, oh, well, it's the New York Times, so therefore it's valid. Why? How long has the New York Times been around? Why are they so respected? What is their bias? There's also opinion pages on those newspaper organizations' websites. And so are you looking at a reporting, or are you looking at someone's interpretation of things? Because if you're on an op-ed page, you need to know that you're going to be getting someone's opinion about an issue, and it's not I mean, it's still going to be fact-based, hopefully, but you're not just reading the facts. So it's a different mindset you need to have. All right. So they have what you need to look at. And these are things we typically do in class. Where we left off with 10th grade, we were about to go into argument, and these are the types of things we would be doing. So I really do like this lesson so far, in that you are having to think about what you're reading and, you know, what are your sources. So these are the types of things I have kids go through, actually, to look for what I call red flags. Is anything that makes it so you shouldn't really trust the source, okay? All right, so they say the articles are linked below. So there's Article 1 and Article 2. And then you read the article and answer the questions. The questions are, you still want to know what the articles are about. That's for the content. And that's so you can analyze it, not for like, do you know what the article is about, but you're looking really for bias. You're looking for what's there and what's not, because you're looking for, are they only showing one side of the issue? Are they addressing both sides of it? The rest is a lot about how it's put together and all that. So that's good stuff. It's the basics. It's okay. So that was uncovering fake news. The last one is join the conversation. Why is fake news so effective? And we're gonna wait for it to load. It looks like the benefit to creating the account and logging in is you can save under my work and come back to it. So if you don't finish it all in one session, and you can also save your results. Why is fake news so effective? It's time to join the conversation. Click the write it button to give your thoughts on fake news, media literacy, and trust in the media. Using what you've learned from the lesson, choose one question to answer in 4 to 5 paragraphs, citing evidence from this lesson as well as your personal experience. Okay, so they give you a couple of prompts, and it tells you to choose one of those and use evidence from the lessons as well as personal experiences. And your response should be 4 to 5 paragraphs long. So we're not talking just answering it with a simple answer. You need to have some complexity to that and have things to support it. So then you click write it. It gives you a reminder of the prompt, it looks like. Ooh, and it gives you a bunch of all these options. So you can attach a file, you could create it in an online cloud storage thing and put the link there. All kinds of things you can do. That's cool. You can pop up the instructions again if you need to. So that's the end of it. I mean, it really, I don't think it looks too hard. I think it's just going through it step by step. Don't jump ahead. Remember, there's a purpose to their sequencing here, and having you go through each of these is because one builds on the other, builds on the other, builds on the other. You're going to start off with just definitions. That's the information. That's the lowest level of understanding, by the way. We talk Bloom's taxonomy, gets you to higher level thinking, which is what they're having you do at the end, which is your application, processing, being critical and analyzing everything and synthesizing all that information together at the end. So to get you there, to be able to do that, they need to first teach you the basic information, which really isn't something that's debatable. And then they start to build in, understanding the historical context. So how long has this been around, this idea, and what did it look like? And then building you up to looking at some personal examples that you could have and what the public perceives with this issue of fake news. And then finally getting you to analyze it yourself and look at things. So that is today's tutorial on the PBS lesson on why is fake news so effective. So remember, all I did on this main website after I clicked this from the learning packet, remember I went to the learning packet, I found box 1, but I had to scroll down to find the one for 10th grade, which was about this issue. And then I launched it in order to get to those other parts. If you go down here, this is more for like teachers, how to use it. That's what this support materials is. So I would click on that. And all it is going to give teaching tips. So if I was going to teach this in a classroom and use this with you guys directly, I could use that stuff to help break it apart. It also has a list of the Common Core state standards that this meets. Remember, that's one thing the district was wanting to make sure that we were doing, is that we were getting those standards. And a lot of these are the same across the board. So you're going to notice this is like how it meets a 6th grade, a 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th and 10th, 11th and 12th. That's all the same standard, but for the different grade levels. Okay, that's one standard. Then it's going to go to another one. This is standard 3 under reading informational text, and they have it for grades 6 through 10, it looks like, on how it meets that requirement. And then it's going to just keep going. Okay, and it goes to it goes up to grade 8 for standard 3. I'm sorry, I misspoke. And then has the 8th grade standard for standard 6. Okay, so there's a lot of standards listed here because they're including them for all grades 6 through 12 for English. They're also going to tell you how it meets standards for history and other things. I mean, it's just one of those things of them saying, hey, we're supposed to get you to do these skills in these different subject areas. Here's how this lesson actually fits with all those standards. So, I mean, you can go on and on. That's pretty boring for you guys. So just remember, that's where it's at. You click the launch here at the top, and that way you can actually do that. If you want to learn more, I think it'd be really cool if you watched the Did Fake News Influence the Outcome of the election 2016? Also the Identifying Fake News from Common Sense Education, sorry. I use their stuff quite a bit. And they have even more things there. But I really like the video ones, the media gallery, so that you can have something that's a little bit more engaging. So that is today's lesson on why is fake news so effective, just how to work through the lesson itself. It's interactive, so you just kind of have to sit there and go through it and go step by step. Don't skip past one. And good luck with that. If you have questions for it, please let me know. Or if you have issues with accessing it, also please let me know so I can pass that along to the district. See you guys next time.